so proudly we hail as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. You. All right.
To all our distinguished guests, and especially to our esteemed President, President William Jefferson Clinton, and welcome to St. Louis. On behalf of Alderwoman Mary Ross, the distinguished Alderwoman of the 5th Ward, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this magnificent, this beautiful, fabulous Samuel Shepherd Gateway Educational Complex. How about that? Right. Because we know that our children won't be all that they can be until our schools are all that they should be. And we can do that here. This is deja vu for me, and it should be for many of you, because it was almost the same time in 1992 when President Clinton, after winning the Democratic nomination for president, came rolling into St. Louis and gathered a crowd of over 50,000 strong. We're back again, friends. He won the presidency, and we're back again here in 1996 as he's rolling through St. Louis again. He's going to roll on to a great Democratic victory and be re-elected the President of the United States. But for the last 41 months, the Clinton administration has knocked itself out for this country and has worked well to create a partnership for St. Louis, one that has created housing, reduced crime, brought us more police, and 70 police officers to this community. We are so proud and we are so honored to have him here. But inasmuch as we appreciate our president, we know that we could not be able to accomplish all the things that we've been able to do without a strong relationship on the state level. We've got one of the greatest governors in the entire United States. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our governor, Governor Mel Carnahan. All right.
Thank you, Mayor Bosley, and welcome to everybody here. We're delighted to be here with our president. You know, the Gateway School here in St. Louis is a perfect setting for this rally today, because this election is about opportunities. And this outstanding school is indeed the gateway to opportunity because of the quality education that is offered here. And our party, the Democratic Party, stands for those opportunities. You know, we've just been through 2 years of the Dole-Gingrich Congress. And Americans have got a taste of what it's going to be like, and here's what it is. It's bitter men for a bitter tomorrow. But because of that taste, the choice is clear, and I'm confident the voters will stand with us to preserve the democratic principles that will improve the quality of life for every man, woman, and child in this country. It's my privilege this afternoon to present to you someone that you know. She's an excellent candidate. She's someone that believes in the principles of our party, and she believes in the opportunities represented here at Gateway School. She's a former teacher, so she understands the importance of schools and providing quality education. She also brings a moderate, common-sense approach to her congressional work based on her experience, and that is in such contrast to the one who is in there that is her opponent in November. It's my privilege to present to you our outstanding candidate for Congress in the 2nd District, Joan Kelly Horn. Joan.
Thank you, Mr. Governor, and thank you, Mayor Bosley. And I want to show my great appreciation to the governor for the wonderful, courageous stands he has taken for the education of all Missourians. And to Mayor Bosley for the very courageous stands he has taken and the very creative putting together of every kind of program you can think of to redevelop this north side of this wonderful city of St. Louis and build this incredible educational complex here for all of us and our kids. And finally, to thank our president because he has had that veto pen. And when the Dole Gingrich Talent Congress has passed those awful slashing budgets for student loans and education, and do you believe a candidate for president in his acceptance speech attacking teachers? Give me a break. Teachers? I mean, who do we all love more but our teachers? What would we be without teachers? Mr. Dole, you are really out of it. But I want to be there in the 105th Congress in January because I want to be there to help this president. I don't want him to have to use his veto pen some more. I want him to be able to take the work that our new speaker will do and that I will help him do and have some very positive, constructive, new kinds of opportunities in education and training for all of us. It is my very, very distinct privilege to introduce to you all of our friend, our wonderful Democratic leader, and the next Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Dick Gephardt.
Isn't it great to have a president who doesn't just talk about education, but actually does something about it? Isn't it great to have a president who doesn't just talk about jobs, but creates 10 million new jobs in the last 4 years? And isn't it great to have a president who isn't trying to build a bridge to the past, but is trying to build a bridge to the 21st century in the future? And isn't it great to have a president who's going to be reelected for 4 more years? It is now my honor to present a man who has been a leader in our country on civil rights and equal rights, who was the leader in our Congress on raising the minimum wage and giving people family and parental leave when they need it. Ladies and gentlemen, the favorite son of this city and this district, the next chairman of the Education Committee, and when he's elected, will really do something about education, Bill Clay.
Thank you, Dick. We welcomed our great city to man from hope. A great president, a great Democrat, a great leader, a man of great courage and love for this country. Our President, William Jefferson Clinton. When Republicans took control of Congress 20 months ago, this country was thrown into a state of siege, a state of fear and frustration, a state of anxiety and apprehension, a state of confusion and chaos. Every program designed to provide a decent standard of living came under attack. Newt Gingrich and his cadre of revolutionaries declared war on those least able to defend themselves. Except for a president and a vocal Democratic minority and a compassionate, humane individual like President Clinton, those scoundrels would have succeeded. Now, the logic of these extremist Republicans is convoluted. They say that in order to help workers, they must destroy unions. They say that in order to increase the income of low-wage workers, they must abolish the minimum wage. In order to better educate children, they must cut Title I and abolish Goals 2000. In order to increase opportunities for students to attend college, they must cut Pell Grants and student loans. And in order to protect basic rights and civil liberties, the Republicans think that they must shred the Constitution. But we have been fortunate to have had a president who was willing to stand up and say that these extremists do not represent the best interests of this country. Bill Clinton has made a difference because he possesses a sense of purpose, embraces a sense of urgency, and has an abiding sense of compassion. He has become the vanguard in the struggle to elevate the standard of living for our dispossessed. He is the fountainhead in the battle to establish the principles of equity and justice as universal rights. President Clinton has become the architect of our bridge to the future, and he must be re-elected. In just 56 short days, we will have the opportunity to keep us moving forward by re-electing Bill Clinton to the office of presidency. Clinton needs the help of a democratically controlled Congress. He needs congressional leaders who will not only oppose backward policies, but who will push initiatives to help real people solve real problems. Our nation has endured enough of the stress and strain of Republican leadership. With Democrats controlling the Congress, the gavel will fall to a more enlightened, more compassionate group of legislators. Next to re-electing Bill Clinton, President of the United States, the most important thing that can happen to secure a brighter future for this country is for Democrats to recapture the Congress and to replace Newt Gingrich as Speaker of the House with the great Missourian Dick Gephardt. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you the present president and the next president of the United States, William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you. 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 Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is wonderful to be here. Thank you for this vast sea of people. Thank you for all these wonderful signs, students for Clinton, teachers for Clinton, cardinals in Clinton, seniors for Clinton. There's one is, I'm from Haines, Arkansas. I'm from Hope, Arkansas. Good for you. My favorite one is that one back there that said, I'd vote for anyone smart enough to marry Hillary. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank all these people who are here with me. I want to thank my friend Al Green for singing the national anthem. Wasn't he great? I want to thank those who preceded us on the program, your Comptroller, Darlene Green, your President of the Board of Aldermen, Francis Slay, Representative O.L. Shelton, our Democratic Chair, the County Prosecutor, Bob McCulloch, Dr. Hammonds, the Superintendent, all the principals who are here, the people from the school board, the State Treasurer, Bob Holden, State Secretary of State, Becky Cook, Joe Carmichael, our State Democratic Chair, Senator Banks, thank you for being here. Thank you, Gateway Elementary and Middle Schools, for welcoming us here. I love this place. I also want to introduce just one person I brought with me, my deputy campaign manager, the former congressman from Missouri and the former nominee for the United States Senate, Alan Wheat, is here with me today, a great American, and I thank him. I want to thank your mayor for his aggressive leadership in education and housing and fighting crime, in proving that this city can be given back to its people, and that just as the motto of this school says, if you empower people and give them a chance to make the most of their own lives, they will do it. That's his philosophy, and that's what we're doing together. I want to thank Governor Mel Carnahan for being one of the most enlightened and progressive governors in the entire United States. For a person who believes that welfare reform means putting people to work, not putting them on the street, and giving our children and our families a better chance at a better future. I want to say a thank you to Joan Kelly Horn for being willing to put herself on the line and run for the Congress again against the well-financed members of the other party, knowing that they are wrong and she is right, and you need to prove her right on Election Day. I want to thank Congressman Dick Gebhardt for being a great majority leader, a courageous minority leader, a man who is the best prepared person in the country to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives, and I hope you will help him to do that. And when I heard your own Congressman Bill Clay up here talking, what I want you to know is that when he's in a room alone with me in Washington, he sounds just like he does when he's up here talking to you over a microphone. He's the same person every place and every time, and he loves the children of this district and of this country. He believes in education, and if you make Dick Gebhardt the Speaker, you will make him the chairman of the House Education Committee, and that'll be a good thing for America. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be back in St. Louis. We had one of the most memorable rallies ever here in 1992. I know we're a little late today, and I want to tell you the main reason we are, and I hope you'll understand and be glad. I had to take a little time in Kansas City to make a statement about a very momentous event that occurred today in New York City. The United Nations has begun to meet again, and today, by an overwhelming vote, with only 3 nations in the entire world dissenting, the nations of the world voted to end nuclear testing once and for all in the entire world. I came into office determined to lift the cloud of nuclear threats from our children and our future. We got the countries of the world to agree not to sell or develop nuclear weapons and give them to other people. We ended a nuclear program in North Korea. We finally succeeded in removing most of the nuclear weapons from any place that was in the old Soviet Union. There are no nuclear missiles pointed at the children of the United States tonight for the first time since the dawn of the nuclear age. And now, if we can see this all the way through with the vote of these nations today, it means that we will be able to take another giant step toward ensuring the safety of our planet and our children and the children of the world if we can ban forever nuclear testing, a dream first born by President Eisenhower and President Kennedy so long ago. It's a great day for America and a great day for the world. Just a few days ago, after the Democratic Convention in Chicago, we started a trip on the bus, Hillary and I and Al and Tipper Gore, in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. We had a huge crowd there on a hot day, once again demonstrating that our country is on the right track to the 21st century. Do you believe that? Yeah. We are. We have, compared to 4 years ago, we've got the lowest unemployment rate in 7.5 years, 10.5 million new jobs, wages going up again for the first time in a decade, 4 years of record starts of new small businesses, record numbers of women and minorities owning businesses in this country. We have a 15-year high in home ownership. I am proud of these things. We're moving in the right direction. 15 million hardworking American families got a tax cut so they'd always want to stay off welfare and keep working. 12 million families got to take a little time off from work without losing their jobs for the birth of a baby or the illness of a parent. 40 million Americans got their pensions protected. 10 million Americans on October the 1st are going to get an increase in their minimum wage. Every small business person in the country will be eligible for a tax cut if they put more money into their business to improve their productivity so they can hire more people or give their employees a raise. This country's moving in the right direction. I'm telling you, we are moving in the right direction, and we don't need to turn back now. Here in St. Louis, I was talking to the mayor about something called the Brownfields Initiative. That doesn't mean anything to most of you, but it will before long. A brownfield is a place where there used to be jobs in a city where there's now nothing but pollution. And what we aim to do is to clean up those brownfields so we can get rid of the pollution and bring back the jobs. And we're going to do it all over America, and we're going to do it right here in St. Louis. We've cleaned up more toxic waste sites in the last 3 years than were cleaned up in the previous 12 years. We brought the deficit down in each of the 4 years I've been president for the first time since before the Civil War to take the debt off our children and keep the interest rates down on their parents. There are 1.8 million fewer people on welfare, and child support collections are up 40%. This country is moving in the right direction. I came into this job that you gave me, and Missouri sure played a big role in giving me this job for 4 years, and I thank you. With a simple vision for these little children here, I wanted us to go into the next century with the American dream alive and well and real for every person who is willing to work for it. I wanted us to be one strong community coming together, not drifting apart, made stronger by our differences, not made weaker by them. I wanted us to continue to lead the world for peace and freedom and prosperity, and we are on the right track. And let me say that I have tried to practice the politics of what to do instead of who's to blame. I don't care much about who's to blame, but in elections, you do have to make choices, and it's important to know what decisions are being made. And when you think about Bill Clay and Dick Gephardt or Joan Kelly Horn, when you think about the races for Congress and the race for president, there are some things that are important to know. In 1993 and 1994, we said yes to reducing the deficit in a way that was fair to all Americans and continue to increase our investment in education, in protecting the environment, in protecting Medicare and Medicaid. And the folks on the other side, they said no. We said yes to a crime bill that put 100,000 police on the street and banned assault weapons, and they said no. We said yes to a less expensive student loan program that gave young people the option to repay it as a percentage of their income, and all of them said no. We said yes to the AmeriCorps program that gives people a chance to solve problems in their communities and earn money for college, and the leaders of their party said no. We said yes to the family leave law, and the leaders of their party said no. We said yes to a tax cut for the 15 million Americans with children in their homes that are working the hardest for the most modest wages, and they all said no. We said yes to the minimum wage increase, and most of them said no. We said yes to more funds for Head Start, for smaller classes, for safe and drug-free schools, and they said no. And then, when they had their turn, they said, we'll balance the budget by giving people like the president, who didn't need it, a tax cut, and cutting Medicare, destroying Medicaid's guarantee of 30 years to poor children and pregnant women and middle-class families with members with disabilities and the elderly in nursing homes, by cutting back on education when we need to be investing more, by weakening our environmental protection when we need to be doing more. That's what they said yes to, and then we had our chance, and we said no. We said no. And that's really what this election is all about. It's a clear, unambiguous choice about building a bridge to the future or going back to a past that didn't work the first time. That is the choice. It's a choice between building a bridge that's wide and strong enough for all of us to walk across, arm in arm, or trying to recover a past that is not recoverable. My fellow Americans, that's what this election is about. I want to build a bridge to the future that keeps our economy growing strong so that every single person who is willing to work has a chance to work and to be a part of the American dream. Will you help me build that bridge? Now, that means we do have to balance the budget. Now, every time I say this in Washington, all the experts say, now, Mr. President, don't go into a city where most of the voters are Democrats anyway and talk about balancing the budget because it bores people. People don't care about it unless the economy's in bad shape and then they think it'll fix it. Let me tell you why you ought to care about it. Our Republican friends said something last year I agree with. They said if we had no plan to balance the budget, interest rates would be 2% higher because the government would be borrowing money, the same money you're trying to borrow. You know what that means? You figure it out when you go home tonight. What would 2% mean on your home mortgage, your car payment, your credit card payments? It's a lot of money. What would 2% mean to all these business people? You want to borrow money in St. Louis to start new businesses or expand their businesses so they can hire more people. That's a lot of money. It would be bad for the economy. So we say, yeah, let's balance the budget, but let's do it without gutting Medicare, Medicaid, education, and the environment. Yes, let's have a tax cut, but let's have a tax cut to people who need it, to help them raise their children and educate their children and save for a home and save for a college education and save for health care, and let's pay for that tax cut. Let's don't go back. Let's don't go back and adopt an unwise tax program that sounds so great. Oh, I'll give you more money, they say. What they don't say is, I'll give you more money, and then we'll have to cut Medicare, Medicaid, education, the environment, even more than we tried to cut it before, and the deficit will go up, so you'll have higher interest rates. I say, let's build that bridge to the future. We don't want to go back to that past. We tried it the first time, and we didn't like it. Let's keep going. Will you help me build that bridge to the future? 10 million American children, 10 million of them, are still living within 4 miles of a toxic waste dump. If you will stick with us, we'll clean up 2/3 of those, the worst ones in the next 4 years, so that all of our children will be growing up next to parks, not poison. Will you help me build that bridge to the future? We want to finish the job of putting 100,000 police on the street. We've got the law on the books, but they've tried twice to stop it. I don't know why. The crime rate is down dramatically. The murder rate in St. Louis has dropped dramatically. It is not complicated. We got police on the street working with the friends and neighbors of people who care about their neighborhoods and their children. We can bring the crime rate down. We've got it down for 4 years in a row. If we bring it down for 4 more years in a row, we may finally get to where we like living in this country and we feel secure in all of our neighborhoods and all of our cities. Will you help me build that kind of bridge to America's future? My opponent said just the other day that he still thought Mr. Clay and Mr. Gebhardt and I were wrong in passing the family and medical leave law, said it was anti-business. All the bill says is, if you work in a business with 50 or more employees and your spouse is about to have a baby, or you are, or your mama or your daddy's real sick, or your baby's real sick, you can take just a little time off from work without losing their job. Now you tell me, is that anti-business? If it's anti-business, how did this economy produce 10.5 million new jobs? That's more job growth, faster rate than any Republican administration in 70 years. It's not anti-business. It's good for America when people can raise their families and be good to their kids and succeed at work. Will you help me build that kind of bridge to the 21st century? Most important of all, I look at this beautiful, beautiful educational complex, and I look at the even more beautiful children out here. And I know and you know that the only way in the world we're living in, and certainly in the world we're moving to, that we can protect all of our children and give them a chance to live up to their God-given abilities is to have education that is world-class quality for every child in America. Will you help me build that bridge to the 21st century? I was told that this is the first new school construction in St. Louis in 25 years. We've got the largest number of young people in school today in American history. I was in a school the other day in Tampa, Florida, a beautiful old school, where there were 5 or 6 trailers outside, prefab buildings that had to be brought in just to house the students. One of the things I want to do is to have the national government help those cities and those school districts that are willing to make an extra effort at school construction to rehabilitate old buildings or build new ones, so that we can help them bring the interest rates down and lower the cost of school construction if they'll make the extra effort. Will you help me do that? Let me tell you something else I think we ought to do. 40% of the 8-year-olds in this country, 40% of the 8-year-olds in this country are still not able to read a book on their own. But we know, you said not in Gateway, that's the idea. What I want them to say that is not anywhere, not in Gateway, not anywhere. We know if our young people can't read, they can't learn other more complex subjects. They won't be able to write, use the language, learn another language, master computers. We know this is important. I want to mobilize an army of reading tutors, starting with the AmeriCorps volunteers, the young people on work study, specially trained teachers, and volunteers, so that we can go into the schools of this country and help the teachers and help the parents and say, by the year 2000, every 8-year-old boy and girl in America will be able to pick up a book and look at it and say, I can read it by myself. Will you help me build that bridge to the 21st century? Let me say one other thing. We have got the chance now, for the first time in the history of our country, to give every child, no matter where that child lives, no matter how poor their neighborhoods, the same access to the same information in the same way at the same time as the children of the wealthiest school districts in America, because of technology. It requires computers in every classroom. It requires trained teachers on those computers, and it requires us in the next 4 years to hook up every one of those classrooms in every school in America to the information superhighway, to the internet, the World Wide Web. Once we do it, education will truly be democratic and open to all Americans. Will you help us build that bridge to the 21st century? And finally, let me say, we have got to put a college education within reach of every single American who wants to go and is willing to work. The scholarships, the AmeriCorps program, the improved student loan program, all this has helped, but we want to do more. I want us in the next 4 years to make at least 2 years of community college education as universal for every American of any age who wants to do it as a high school education is today. Will you help us do that? I want to do it in the following way. I want us to say to everybody, we will give you a tax credit, a refundable tax credit for up to $1,500 a year. That will cover the typical community college tuition in any state at any community college. Nearly every American lives within driving distance of a community college, and every American needs at least that much education. That's the right kind of tax cut for America, to send the American people to school. I want to give the American families a tax deduction for the cost of any tuition after high school, undergraduate, postgraduate, you name it, at any age, up to $10,000 a year. Will you help me do that? That's the kind of bridge I want to build to the 21st century. I believe that we owe it to the children and to their parents to build a country in which people can succeed at home, raising their kids, and at work, where everyone who wants to get another education or more education has a chance to do it. Where we say you do not have to wreck the fabric of America's community to balance the budget. If you do it in the right way, it will make America a stronger community. That is the kind of America I want to build. And let me tell you, folks, we have this election, as you just heard, is 56 days from today, 8 weeks from today. In the next 8 weeks, you think about how many people you're going to speak with. Think about all your friends and family members, everybody you might talk to on the telephone living inside or beyond the borders of the state of Missouri. And I want to just ask you to remember this. This is a wonderful rally. You've made me very happy today. But I want you to remember what I said. These are big choices. And the choices you make in the races for Congress and the choice you make in the presidential race is a choice that has more to do with you than us. It has more to do with these children. They have all their tomorrows in front of them. And we owe it to them to make sure that our best days are still ahead. We owe it to them to make sure that the future is brighter than any of our glorious past. And we can do it. We have it within our means if we have the vision and the will, and if we make up our mind, each and every one of us, to be good citizens. Yes, we have done a lot in the last 4 years, but the last 4 years is just an indication of what we can do in the next 4 and the years beyond if we will build that bridge together. Will you help me do that? Thank you. God bless you. Let's go get it. Thank you.
She walks in the town in a long white gown. When the band plays on with no one around.
No, play it, play it. More music.
Where's this sound? What happened there? Now we're off to a dinner.
She walks in the town in a long white